What if Daniel Dubois beats Anthony Joshua? What would be the implications for his immediate future, for his legacy, and for the heavyweight division? Well, his immediate future would be littered with options. But before he could explore those options, he might have to deal with some obligations. Now, hopefully there's no rematch clause in the contract for Dubois AJ, but if there is, he'd have to fight AJ again. And I certainly hope that's not the case. If there's no rematch clause for AJ, he might have to fight a mandatory instead. The IBF are known to expedite their mandatories quicker than the other sanctioning bodies generally. And so after AJ, the next highest ranked available contender is Ajit Kabayel. But if the IBF are unwilling to make him mandatory, then they would probably, presumably, order a final eliminator between Kabayel and Martin Bakole, who's ranked one spot below him. And the winner of that would then fight Daniel Dubois, which would give Dubois time to at least have a voluntary defense or maybe even a unification against the winner of Usyk Fury 2, presuming that fight goes ahead. But whether Daniel Dubois decided to go down that road may hinge on who the winner is. If the winner is Tyson Fury, I think it makes it far more likely that Dubois will go down that road. But if the winner is Usyk, I'm not so sure Dubois would want a rematch with him right away. And the reason I say that is because there are so many other options which could pay Daniel Dubois a lot of money. And all of these guys, including Fury, are Queensberry fighters. So they're fights which Frank Warren wouldn't have a problem making because whoever wins them remains with him as part of his promotional stable. So as I say, if Usyk beats Fury in the rematch, depending on how well Fury performs in defeat, they might resurrect him and have him fight Daniel Dubois as Dubois' second defense of his IBF heavyweight title. Alternatively, they could have Daniel Dubois fight Joseph Parker, another Queensberry fighter, or they could have him fight Zheli Zhang, yet another Queensberry heavyweight, and that'd be a really interesting fight. Or they could have him fight Joe Joyce in a rematch. Dubois said he wants to get revenge over Joyce. Now might be the time. Joyce has never looked more shop-worn than he does now. But all this, of course, would be contingent on any of these guys getting an IBF top 10 ranking. Parker at the moment, I don't believe does, because he holds a WBO interim title, which precludes him from being ranked by any other sanctioning body. So he'd have to give that up in order to get an IBF ranking, and that'd have to be sorted out between the promoter and the sanctioning body. But things like that do happen. The next option for Dubois, as I say, would be Zheli Zhang. He doesn't have any kind of interim belts. He's currently ranked number 6 by the IBF. Joe Joyce is not currently ranked at all by the IBF, so Joyce would need to get a win under his belt, presumably, to make himself an option for a Dubois voluntary defense. And the final two names on the list, again, both Queensberry fighters, are Fabio Wardley. He's currently ranked number 12 by the IBF. If he beats Fraser Clark in a rematch, presumably he'll go up in the rankings and perhaps would be eligible to fight Daniel Dubois. And the final name on this list is my personal preference, which is Moses Itauma. Now, when I say my personal preference, I'm not talking from the perspective of what's best for Daniel Dubois. I'm talking from the perspective of what I want to see as a selfish boxing fan. And I want to see Mike Tyson's record as the youngest heavyweight champion of all time broken. And so if Dubois beats Anthony Joshua, and let's say Moses Itauma manages to get himself ranked by the IBF in the top 10 in the meantime, then I want to see Itauma have the opportunity to go for it. Get a title shot against Daniel Dubois, a guy he's shared many rounds with in the gym. They're familiar with each other. And maybe I'll do a separate video about this, but if Itauma were to win a version of the heavyweight title and break Mike Tyson's record, what I would then want him to do is actually vacate the belt immediately. You've ticked the box, you've become youngest heavyweight champion in history, give up the belt and continue your development. I've always said, I think Itauma can break Mike Tyson's record, but that's not the same thing as saying, I think Itauma is ready for the best fighters in the division right now. No, I don't think he is ready for the best fighters in the division right now. At least not all of them. I think there are certain styles and certain particular fighters, let's say in the top 5 of the heavyweight division, maybe top 6, that Itauma might be able to beat. But I wouldn't pick him over AJ right now. I wouldn't pick him over Tyson Fury. I wouldn't pick him over Usyk, but I might pick him over Daniel Dubois. So again, me wanting to see Dubois fight Itauma is just a desire of mine as a selfish boxing fan. That's all that is. In terms of what's best for Dubois, that's probably the least desirable option. But that would be Dubois' immediate future. A fight against any of the names I just mentioned if he doesn't want to fight Alexander Usyk in a rematch. The implications for Dubois' legacy, well, at the minute, Dubois is just what people today call an email champion. He didn't win his title in the ring, just like Lennox Lewis didn't win his first heavyweight title in the ring, just like Ken Norton didn't win his heavyweight title in the ring, and many other fighters over the years. A winner over Anthony Joshua would give Daniel Dubois a certain degree of legitimacy as a champion, especially when taken in context, because think about the run of form at that point. Beats Jarrell Miller, takes his unbeaten record, beats Filip Hrgović, takes his unbeaten record, beats Anthony Joshua, former two-time heavyweight champion. And if he does it in dominant or at least decisive fashion, even better for Daniel Dubois. Now, it wouldn't be a Hall of Fame resume at that point, but it would certainly be a good starting place. And what would the implications be for the heavyweight division? Well, there's a particular saying that Daniel Dubois keeps on repeating over and over again in the run-up to this Joshua fight, and that is, when you kill a king, you become a king. Now, if we accept the idea that AJ is a king, many people won't accept that idea, but if you accept that idea, then if AJ beat Dubois and let's say retired within the next 12 months, and the other two kings in Alexander Usyk and Tyson Fury also retired, then that would leave the heavyweight division kingless. And kingless means, at least in the minds of the public, without credibility. The heavyweight division would be seen as a rudderless ship. The new generation of heavyweights would be seen as inferior to what came before, and presumably public interest would drop off accordingly. So it might actually be better for the heavyweight division if Daniel Dubois does win this fight. It would then be looked back upon as a passing of the torch moment. Now, when I say better for the heavyweight division, I'm talking about better for the heavyweight division moving forward. If AJ wins, it will be better for the heavyweight division right now. It would galvanize this current heavyweight era as a golden era if AJ wins and looks really good. And so people will look back in years to come and say, wow, you remember when Fury, Usyk, AJ, Wilder were at the top in the heavyweight division? Those were great days. Those were great fighters. There was so much talent. People are more likely to say that if AJ does a job on Daniel Dubois. But as I say, the trade-off is that the next era, which Dubois presumably will still be a part of, will be devalued. But if Dubois wins, especially if he does a job on AJ, then this era will be somewhat devalued, and the next era will gain a certain amount of value. And that'll be better for the sport long term because the current era is nearly over. All the money has pretty much been made. There's only a few more fights that are going to generate any serious money involving the top three guys. So that particular cow has been milked. What Dubois is hoping to do, and the next generation of heavyweights are hoping to do, is fatten up a new cow. But give me your thoughts in the comment section below. What if Daniel Dubois beats Anthony Joshua? What do you think the implications would be for his immediate future, for his legacy, and for the heavyweight division? Drop your thoughts in the comment section below. And before I go, make sure you check out my Joshua Dubois film study on my Patreon page. It's about 1 hour and 20 minutes long. I analyze actual video footage of several of their fights and do a technical breakdown of their respective strengths and weaknesses and discuss tactics. If you want to access this video along with hundreds of hours worth of other exclusive boxing content, as well as our members chat, just head on over to my Patreon page and select the tier called the Boxing Brotherhood. There's no contract, no commitment. You can cancel at any time, just like Netflix, but it's a hell of a lot cheaper. Just download the app from the Play Store or the App Store. All the links are in the description box below.